How's it going, guys? So today I'm doing another tag response. That's going to be my top 3 pet peeves when it comes to knives. I might throw a couple little bonus ones there at the end, but these are going to be my main 3. This was started by Justin over at Blue Collar Survival. I believe he started it, and yeah, I've been dragging butt, but here we are. So what we're looking at today is this CRKT rasp. Now this knife is going to kind of exemplify the things that are my biggest pet peeves. This was a gift from Esquire Knife and Tool, and before you get too caught up on the gift thing, he actually sent it to me because he hated it, and he said, "Hey man, I'm not a big fan of this knife. It's really disappointing. If you want, you can keep it if you like it, or you can destroy it in a video like you did with the Ganzo Worker Bee video." I'm kind of sentimental, and so I don't like destroying a gift knife, but this would be a good candidate for that. We'll just say that. So yeah, let's roll into some top 3 pet peeves on knives. Number 1. Now I haven't watched the other pet peeve tag responses because I didn't want to be like, oh wait, that one's a better one. That's my big pet peeve. These are just off the top of my head what I can do. The only one I've watched was Justin's. So number 1 is something I call the Bermuda Triangle. I'm not sure what everyone else calls it, but that's kind of what I call it. And that's going to be... Alright, so back on track. Now that's going to be this area right down in here. You have 3 different surfaces coming together with the lock face, the lock bar or liner lock on some knives, and then just the outside scale. So a lot of things can go wrong in here, creating hot spots and just the fit and finish. Sometimes it seems like it's an afterthought. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put the little lens attachment on here so we can kind of go macro and get a little bit of a closer look in that spot right there. And then, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more. So this is the area that I'm talking about. You can kind of see you have your lock bar, your lock face, and then the outside scale. So on this one you have 3 different elevations all kind of coming together, and what happens is on this one they did not finish the top of this lock bar, so it's actually kind of snaggy. You can pull the skin off, and every time I engage this knife, every time I open it, I'm gonna have to go in this area and disengage it. So that's one big pet peeve, is when they don't finish this off, especially, you know, it's a pocket knife. You're going to be opening and closing it, and yeah, there's so many things that can go on in here. And like I said, I call it the Bermuda Triangle because it's just this little triangle of three pieces coming together that seem to be an afterthought with some knives, and some people do it right. So I'm going to pull one up that did it right real quick. But yeah, this one is just kind of all over the place, and it's got a real, like, just yucky spot right there. You can see, and yeah, not a big fan of that. It's a pet peeve. There you go, and you can see everything is just done really well in here. No big issues. It's all finished nicely, so they did a really good job. So that's one big pet peeve, is when they don't pay attention to that. Let me pull this off. So that's pet peeve number 1, is the Bermuda Triangle when they don't get it right. Pet peeve number 2. Now, I've always kind of thought of myself as a little bit of a pocket clip snob, but sometimes things just kind of take it to the next level, and that's what this little thing did here. I mean, look at that. Looks like a mutated duck foot, in my opinion, and it doesn't function very well. It's got this weird, like, offset mounting, and I'm not a fan. I'm a little more flexible now when it comes to, like, tip up, tip down, you know, those kind of things. But if you're going to execute a pocket clip, at least give a little more thought, in my opinion. I've had ones, here's a budget knife that does tip down, and I'm okay with that because it's done really well. And that is this Camillus that Blade Banter sent me to check out as a good budget knife. And yeah, I mean, it functions really well. It's not super tight. It actually does a pretty good job. On my Kershaws, I hate budget Kershaw clips. I take them off every time because the tension is so high on them. It's a struggle to get it in and out of the pocket. So poorly executed pocket clips and really ugly ones like this are big pet peeves of mine. And I get what they were trying to do, is trying to kind of keep it off the lock bar, but I've seen others, and there's other ways to execute that. So poorly executed pocket clips. And the next thing is going to be poorly executed detents. So this is a flipper knife by design. You can see it's got a tab there, and you know, the detent being dialed in really helps the operation of that flipper tab. It's one of the things that kind of brings it all together. And when it's not executed very well, it's super disappointing. This one's super hard detent, but there's no payoff. Like, I can give a little bit of leeway if it's a harder detent, but the payoff's great. And if you're going to make it a flipper, execute it, you know, as a flipper knife. You know, if you can't get your detent dialed in, maybe don't make it a flipper. Maybe make it a thumb stud only knife, thumb disc, a nail nick, something, you know, anything different than the flipper. Because if it is a flipper knife, it should flip, and this one doesn't do a very good job. And there's a few examples that I have in my collection, but this is probably one of the best ones. Like I said, this knife exemplifies all three things that I'm kind of nitpicking knives against. So those are my top three. A couple little bonus ones to throw in there is keyed pivots. I love me a keyed pivot. Now, I understand on some budget knives, you know, when you're talking like sub 40, sub 30, yeah, I don't expect a keyed pivot. It's a nice little bonus, like on the LCK, wherever that may be. Here it is. This pivot is keyed, and that's fantastic. That's awesome. I love that they did that. And yeah, so always a nice little surprise. I don't expect it, but if it's done well, it makes me happy. It shows the little attention to detail. And then the other final thing is going to be a little extra bonus one is too much Loctite. Come on, I mean, most of us are going to take our knives apart at some point. And if you don't, props to you. But I know I will. And having too much Loctite on there is really going to just hinder my experience with the knife. I want to take it apart. I want to clean it. Sometimes I want to mod it. And I know some knives aren't meant for that, but that's why it's kind of just a bonus one. Just a little afterthought is I really wish some companies didn't overdo the Loctite. So those are my top three with some bonus. Like I said, this rasp here is kind of the exemplary knife of pet peeves. This knife just, kind of, that's how I feel about it. And like I said, I know it was a gift, but he sent it to me with that, hey, this is not a good knife, little asterisk side note attached to it. And he was right. It's not a very good knife. Probably my worst CRKT that I've had across my desk. But yeah, guys, those are my top three pet peeves. Thanks for watching. We got some reviews we're going to be wrapping into. So as always, guys, have a good one. We'll see you really soon.